7.0 was disappointing for many of us, from the short story to the class pruning and even some of the weird UI changes, right? But the video today isn't about why you shouldn't play Star Wars: The Old Republic. I want to focus on why you should play. And it's not going to be about, you know, the normal video like this mechanic is great or this system is good. It's going to be more about our connection to Star Wars, the franchise, and maybe more importantly, our connection to other Star Wars fans, right? And so I want to share a little bit of my journey of how I came to the game and tell you my story, and maybe it'll resonate with some of you guys and remind you of your stories. So yeah, let's sit down for some story time. Mic check, mic check. All right, I think we're good. Let's get into some story time. I'm gonna try and convey through my story about why Star Wars: The Old Republic is different and why you should give it a shot or come back to the game, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. And like I said, it's not going to be a list of this system or it's great because this mechanic or where the balance is at. I want to make this a little bit different from the normal why you should play SWTOR in 2022 video. I wasn't a PC gamer. Star Wars: The Old Republic and MMOs weren't even on my radar. I played console, you know, with one of these guys, right? I played Xbox. I was a big Halo guy. I played Madden and all those sorts of games. And so PC games were not on my radar, but I was a huge Star Wars fan. Just growing up watching the original trilogy with my mom and dad, those were just special times to me, and it was just something we could bond over, especially with my dad from an early age. I love the Star Wars stories. They are a lot about family and about self-sacrifice, and I don't know, it always just resonated with me. So from a very early age, I was a Star Wars fan. Of course, when I heard there was going to be a Star Wars game where you could play a character in the world of Star Wars, and granted, I had never heard of Star Wars Galaxies because I just wasn't a PC gamer. And so when I heard about SWTOR, I was super intrigued. I went to the website and started doing research on all the classes you could play, and as soon as I saw I could use a double-bladed lightsaber, I was hooked. I mean, I was in. After that, I went down to my local GameStop and I picked up the game. I still have the box. Here, let me show you guys. But like I said, the problem was I was a console gamer and I didn't even have a PC. And my work back then was in web design, so I had let me see, I think a 2009 MacBook Pro, and don't get me wrong, it was a great computer for the things I was doing, but it wasn't great for PC gaming. But that didn't stop me. This is where we get to kind of the cringe part of the story, so stick with me. I actually went out and got Parallels so I could install Windows on my MacBook. And so that's what I did. I got the game, and whew, actually, this part is even cringier now that I think about it. I pulled out my Xbox controller and I downloaded a program called XPadder, I think, and that let me map keyboard functions to the controller. I know, that's super bad. But that's how I started playing. That's how I got into it. I love Star Wars enough that I wanted to experience the game world in any way I could. And I think I got to about Balmorra before I started to get so many abilities that the controller just wasn't working anymore. And I did make the switch to mouse and keyboard. And for that matter, I did eventually get a gaming PC. This was all because of SWTOR, and not just SWTOR, it was really because of my love for Star Wars and Star Wars in general. And I was now a PC gamer. I was introduced into the PC master race, and I haven't looked back since. I think that is the first reason you should play this game or come back to the game. The world of Star Wars and the lore connected to it is it's just amazing. There are some rumors of other Star Wars MMOs coming out, and I guess I'll cross that bridge when it gets here, but until then, SWTOR is the game for me. And maybe it's the game for you too. But like I said, I was going through and leveling for the first time. I had picked the double-bladed lightsaber class, so I was a Jedi Shadow. And I know a lot of people meme on the consular story and say it's the worst, but it's actually my favorite. And maybe it's a bit of me looking at it with rose-tinted glasses, but when I look back on it, I just really like the fantasy of being kind of, you know, like picturing Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan going to negotiate the trade deal. Being that Jedi that uses diplomacy to find peaceful resolutions, but if you are pushed to it, you will use force, or the force, I guess, to defend others. And it was a really cool storyline to me. And I loved a lot of the characters in the class story, especially Satele. She was always my favorite, but there is a class story for everyone. And that is the second reason why, especially if you are a new player, you should try Star Wars: The Old Republic. I didn't just stop though at the Jedi Consular story. I have legendary status, which means I've completed all of the class stories, and I think they're really amazing. Some of them I've even played more than once. I think you owe it to yourself as a Star Wars fan to see all of the class stories, all the Old Republic lore and storytelling from BioWare, especially when you consider you can play all 8 of the class stories as a free-to-play player. It's awesome. It's just so much content, and I think you should give it a shot. The last thing I want to talk about is the community and the friendships I've made. As I've played this game the past 10 years, I had found this original group of friends, and we basically just did PvP, whether that was 8v8 ranked back in the day, or regs, or even arenas when they first came out. But you know, slowly over time, a lot of those guys, their circumstances changed, and some of them started families like myself, and our gaming free time dwindled. Some of them, their careers took them in other directions, and others just, you know, went to other games. So slowly over time, our group really dwindled. And occasionally these days we can get 2 or 3 of us together, and we really have a great time, but it's just rare. And also doing PvP all those years, I really missed out on the operations and even a lot of the flashpoints I hadn't seen. And for that stuff, you need a group, and I just didn't have that anymore. I really needed to find a new community. I started by looking into the SWTOR Guild Finder tool, and to my surprise, there was what seemed like an endless number of communities out there, of guilds who were super welcoming to new and returning players. And I think the reason why is, well, I mean, there's just a lot of good people out there, of course, but I think the other reason is if someone is still playing this game at this point, I think they really love Star Wars. And I think that is a connection that we all share of the players of this game. So when a new player wants to get in and do operations or any new content, everyone seems to be super welcoming. And that is sort of where I find myself right now. I joined a guild recently. I'll give a quick shout out. This isn't a guild advertisement. I don't actually know a ton of the people yet in the guild, but it's called Exile's End on Republic side on Starforge. It seems like a really welcoming place, and it's easy to get into the content with the other members in the guild. They have signups for multiple operations per day. They have PvP events, world boss events, heroic runs, and newer members are encouraged to join in. And I think from looking into multiple guilds, it seems like there are tons of opportunities like this and tons of friendly guilds out there, and they all share a connection as Star Wars fans, which I think is unique among other MMOs. I guess maybe the nostalgia factor of WoW comes close. I don't really know. But I would say if you are a new player or a player thinking about coming back, dive into a new community, because that is one of the great things about the MMO experience. When you have a group of like-minded people enjoying content together, there's just nothing more fun than that. I don't know if my story resonated with any of you guys, but I think there are some similarities between all of our journeys that led us to Star Wars: The Old Republic, or to just be a Star Wars fan in general, that keep leading us back to this game. At least it does for me anyway. If you have a connection to Star Wars, or are a huge fan of the franchise, or you love Star Wars stories, or even if you are looking for a new community, I think these are great reasons to come back to the game or try Star Wars: The Old Republic for the first time. And I think these reasons transcend what systems or mechanics are in the game. And if you aren't playing, tell me why in the comments below. If you are thinking of maybe playing, please reach out to me or others in the comments with any questions you might have about the game, or how to find a community or a guild that is right for you. I would really be happy to answer any and all of those questions. But regardless, thanks for dropping by to listen to my story. Thumbs up or down depending on how you like the content, and a subscribe is always appreciated. I'll be back with more SWTOR content soon. Thanks guys.